So, did you watch the fights this weekend? Bellator, UFC, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, for sure.
What are your thoughts on freaking not Jakar? What's his face? Heavyweight. Our boy Tyrell.
Tyrell,
Yeah,
Tyrell looked good, man. It was good for him to bounce back. He needed a win for sure. Um, his last fight was a rough one. He got taken down a lot. It kind of hurt his pride a little bit, but you know, um, he went out and did well. He performed well. Landed a lot of shots.
heck yeah. That guy, man, that guy's chin was crazy, unbelievable. I don't know how that guy took that beating.
Yeah, he put him out. It was nice. It was
Yeah,
a good performance for him for sure. It was what he needed. He's still about two wins away.
yeah.
I think he's gonna have to get through Tim Johnson or Linton Vassell again. Those two guys both beat him. So he's gonna have to get through one of those two again, and then one more fight hopefully, and then he'll be right in the heavyweight contention for the title.
Heck yeah. No, I was thinking Jakar's fight when I was saying that guy took a beating. I'm like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
yeah, that fight. My gosh, that guy took so many shots. How did he keep going? That ref, lucky he stopped it, man.
Well, you know, wasn't the most evenly matched fight I've ever seen in my life, but
Yeah,
you
exactly.
gotta love Jakar coming off of 2 years layoff, right? I mean that's always a tough thing to do, to come back from 2 years being out of the sport, and still have slip discs in their neck and
Mhm.
stuff like that. You know, he's he's doing it, man, and he finally went out there and performed like he wanted to. That's how he wants to perform, and that's what the crowd likes to see, those kind of fights. So,
Do you have any news on
it was good.
sorry, any news on Courtney's next fight? 'Cause I know it got canceled. Do you know when it's going to be or with
Just
who?
got postponed. I think July 6th. Yeah, it got moved back a couple weeks.
Do you know where that fight's going to be at?
I believe it's Vegas over the
Performance Center,
the
not Apex.
over the weekend, that whatever that weekend is, that the big fight weekend. I don't remember what it's called. It's called something different now. It
Oh,
used to be called.
Fight Week or International Fight Week or
It
yeah, I
used
think
to
I
be
could.
called that, but it's called something different now. I don't remember what it's called.
Do you have any thoughts on the other Bellator fights? The two main events or main event and cold main event. That was crazy.
That was I I always look at guys like AJ McKee, right, and they win one title, and then they start talking like
Yeah,
they're the best to ever do it, and it'd be easy to go out there and beat a guy like Volkanovski, right? But you got to get through Pitbull again. It's one of those things that it's not like it was a close fight.
yeah.
I thought it
I
was a
thought he
very close
won,
fight.
but I mean, it was no like huge robbery like people were saying. I'm like, I thought he won, but it was like, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a close fight. I can't remember exactly how I scored it. I'm not gonna go on
Yeah,
record and say how I scored it because I don't remember. Um, I just remember it being close. And in close fights like that, it comes down to who leaves the most impact on the judges, right? I mean, impact by meaning who lands the harder shots and who lands
yeah,
the things. If takedowns nowadays aren't scored like they used to be. When you look at a takedown,
it's like,
if you
what do you
don't
do
do
with the
anything with it,
takedown? Yeah, it's like,
yeah, if you don't do anything with it, it's really merely a change of position. I mean, it's nice that you get score. You'd score for the takedown, and you get score for the control time. But if Pitbull gets back up and blasts you with two or three right hands, I mean, there goes your takedown, right? And I mean,
exactly.
what's
Yep.
the point? So I thought it was a close fight, though. Yeah, I mean,
What about that main event? That was crazy because I had him losing the first round, clearly winning the next 2 rounds. 2 seconds left, they stopped it. I'm like, man, if Dave would have went to decision, he would have won it. Corey Anderson fight versus Nemkov.
Yeah, the Corey Anderson, that's a tough one, right? That's a rule thing,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's really difficult because I think a guy, say like Herb Dean, right,
Yeah.
would have let that go to the corner,
Yeah.
would have let that 2 seconds run off, go to the corner, and then in the corner would have said, hey, look, let's start this next round, and then call the doctor.
Yeah.
Right, because he already knows it's running through his head how it goes. But look, man, you see a foul and you got to call the foul, and that cut was nasty.
Oh yeah.
That was a nasty cut. So when you look at a cut like that, it's a nasty cut. So I mean, Frank Triggs fought. He's ref for a long time. I don't know how many main events he's done as a ref, but that was a tough one for him, right? He had to make a call, and he made a call.
Yeah.
And it cost Courtney Anderson $1 million.
$1 million, exactly. Like, oh,
right? It's tough. I mean, so he'll get his chance again.
Yeah.
I mean, they just postponed it, but you also then give what's his name a chance to
whatever his name
to
is.
improve. Yeah, to improve, to change some things, and the fight could be completely different. So, it's tough. It's a tough one. I think, a guy like Mark Goddard or a guy like Herb probably would have let that
go longer.
See the 3 seconds out. They either would have stopped it in between, which would have been the same, right? It would have been the same outcome. The outcome would have been the same. Only way the outcome changes is if they actually start the third round. So they go out there and he goes, okay, go. And then he goes, time. And then he waves it and then brings the doctor in, right? Or starts the fourth round.
Yeah.
So, it's tough.
One, yeah. What was that? 2 seconds left? I forgot what it was. 2 or 5 seconds left. Crazy.
Yeah, it was like 3 seconds left. And, the headbutt was unintentional. And it was Corey that told him that he headbutted him too, right? So, which made it even worse, He felt even worse about it. He was like, oh, man, I headbutted him. It was an accident, And then, okay, time, right? Like, oh, shit. And then he got penalized for it. He lost the title, and he lost $1 million.
Oh, wow, crazy. Jay should be jumping on any second. By the way, I'm liking the grays on your beard. It's almost like mine. Not quite, but kind of.
Yeah, yours is a little fluffier. Mine was fluffier, but I had to trim it down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm the same one too. Like sometimes I just want to get rid of it and then grow it back. Mine grows so quick, so.
Yeah, it was too itchy.
Yeah, exactly. Did you watch UFC this past weekend? What are your thoughts on some of those fights? Obviously, Jakar's fight, and then
Yeah, I mean, I watched them. You get these fights. Sometimes these fight nights, you get some good fights.
Yeah, you never know with them. Yeah,
but there's not a lot of like name value involved in the whole situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I can't even remember who was the main event of that.
It was Bilal Muhammad versus I forgot.
Oh, that's right, Bilal Muhammad. Yeah, look, that guy's close to a title shot, right? I mean,
yeah, he called out. He called out Covington. I think that'd be interesting, but I think Covington should beat him. But who knows?
Well, I think Covington's got to dance with Hamza here pretty soon. Is what I think.
Exactly. Like if I was saying, I would go with Hamza, even though he probably loses to Hamza. It's a bigger money fight than Bilal. He's got no. If he wins it, he's supposed to win.
Yeah, Colby likes to fight guys he's supposed to beat. Though.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, that's just me, but Colby. I don't think Colby's going to have a choice in the matter at this point because he's lost twice to the champion. If he wants to get back to that title, he's got to do something drastic, and beating Hamzat would be a drastic thing, right? I mean, he goes out there and he beats Hamzat. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
like that'll get some people going, right?
Heck yeah.
That'll get some people talking, get some people saying, "Look, Colby really is the second best.
Now,
really is the."
hold on one second. JP's joining us. Let me get him on. Hey, Jay, can you hear us?
Yeah, bro.
Do you want to get on video or now?
I'm good for now, but shortly.
Okay, cool.
What's up, JJJ Bowski?
What's going on, my man?
What are you doing?
Well, living this semi-charmed life, my dude. What about you?
You know, same thing. Ups and downs, brother. Ups and downs.
Every day, bro. Every day.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the fights in Bellator and UFC this past weekend. I don't know if you guys want to get into the UFC coming up here in Phoenix. Some of the fights.
Whatever my dude wants to get into, I'm down to talk.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what he's into, but you know.
Well,
Looking good with that gray beard there, my dude. You're looking suave and sophisticated
We
there.
were just talking about that. We both got the grays in our beard.
Yeah, I'm starting to get them too, but I shaved my shit off because I don't want to show my age.
Some women do like to. What do they call them when you got the grays? They say something like silver fox or something like that.
Salt and pepper.
Or something like that.
Salt and pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how that is.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, you know, we were just talking about who's next for Colby Covington. I mean, it looks to me like I think Colby's got to take that Khamzat fight.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think Bilal Muhammad gets him where he needs to be.
Exactly. It's just a win. You know, it's like he's supposed to win. It's one of those kind of things.
Yeah, I think Luke losing to Muhammad, and I like Bilal. He's been good to us. You know, we've interviewed him, Dallas, quite a few times. Guy. He's always been cool as hell to us. But talking from a pure MMA perspective, Bilal beating, or you know, Hazmat beating and fighting Bilal is really. Luke winning that fight would have made more sense because Luke, you know, versus Hazmat would have been a better money fight. I don't think Bilal moves that needle enough. I think it's got to be Colby versus the Wolf.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially if Colby, looking at his career, wants to try to get back to a title fight, right? I mean, come on, you got to make some waves, and the only wave to make it in that division right now is Khamzat. So,
agreed.
Yeah, I think that's the fight for him. I don't know if he'll take it, or if maybe they'll force him to take it. I don't know. I mean, he's working on a new contract. They said, right?
Yeah, Colby.
Yeah,
I mean, Colby's all about that cheddar, and right now, I mean, Hazmat's that money. I mean, Hazmat's money for whatever reason. That guy has been. I ain't seen somebody rise that fast up people's mouths since McGregor. So I think Colby would take it. I mean, but
I think he's gonna lose. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
You never know, man.
Look, Colby. I think people give Colby the credit that he deserves as a fighter. I mean, Colby's a beast, dude.
Oh yeah,
sure. Well,
Colby's a beast.
We still haven't seen Hazmat really controlled on the mat. I mean, I thought Burns did good in that avenue and, you know, trying to mix it up, but nobody's ever put Hazmat down and truly held him down and wrestled him. And that's Colby 101. You know what I mean? That's like Colby will take him to the depths and, you know, smother him. And how's he going to respond to that? I mean, he very well may, you know, be like a Wolverine on the ground. But I think it's a fair fight because if you got to get, you know, if you can survive Colby, you know what the next step is, and that's Usman, and you know Usman's going to do the same thing, you know. So,
and I mean, you look at the pace too, right? I mean, the pace of that fight's going to be a much different situation, you know, because though Gilbert Burns and Khamzat were working at a pretty heavy pace, a lot of that was striking, you know.
Right.
You're going to look at Colby Covington, who's going to put a serious pace on you, and most of that's going to be grapple heavy pace. So, but yeah, you know, we'll see what Khamzat can do with that if they make the fight, right? I mean, they got to make the fight.
he hasn't done 5 rounds
True.
yet, too, and he looked tired at third round. So we'll see with the 5 rounds. You know, Kobe's got the endurance. So
he got dropped like 3 times.
I don't see Covington dropping him, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I got to turn this fan off. I know that. I think.
All right, I love the pictures of MLK and Ali.
Yeah.
Nice. So, what are you guys' thoughts on other UFC Phoenix fights? We got some real good ones.
Yeah, man, we got probably the best lightweight fight you're gonna get right now, right? I mean, Oliveira and Gaethje, those 2 boys are gonna go out there and put the hammers on each other.
Oh yeah. And Dallas, that's such a hard fight to predict because, I mean, you really could. We use the term flip a coin. It can go either way. This one, it really is that case because this could end with Justin knocking Oliveira out in the first round. This could end with, Oliveira withstanding the storm and submitting him in the second. You really don't know. And that's the thing about Oliveira.
The 5th, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen Oliveira fight for a long time. I mean, people don't realize how long this guy's been in the UFC, and he's always been, I'll go on and say, a great fighter that never fully got recognized. But now he's turned it up to that next level. And every fight he gets better and better and better. And he still seems like he gets overlooked. So, I mean, Justin's going to have his work cut out for him, but so is Charles. I mean, people can say they can handle the pace that Justin brings to the table, but it's easier said than done. Much easier said than done.
Look, I think you're dead right. I think it ends in one or two ways. It ends with Justin knocking him out or Oliveira submitting Justin, right? And you look at a guy like Oliveira. Oliveira his early career was plagued with I can't make weightness, right, or whatever the hell what he was doing. I don't know what he was doing, right, but he was still a fantastic fighter at the time. Right? I mean, he's always been a fantastic fighter, but now he gets his shit together, and all of a sudden he's just what? He's a kid. He's the biggest killer in the division, right? And he's putting everybody away. So I mean, the guy's got a chin, right? He's proven he can take shots. He can get up from him. He's proven he can fight on the feet. He's proven he can fight on the ground. My biggest issue with Justin is man, he's not proven that he can defend a submission.
True.
And it just becomes one of those difficult situations where it's like, man, eventually Oliveira is going to try to put you on the ground, right? So,
yeah, I don't think he's going to take him down now, but we'll see. You never know when you're tired and.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a 5-round banger, man. Somebody's going to fall sooner or later.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it's the law of averages, Dallas, Carlos. These two are going to keep throwing. Somebody's going to fall. And it should be noted that, when I say that Charles they're going to end with him getting knocked out or submitting Justin, that's more of an indication of the volume and the power that Justin brings to the table. Oliveira's really only been knocked out. I mean, he's been knocked out several times in his UFC career, but it should be noted once was due to a TKO due to an esophagus injury against Max Holloway. There ain't no shame in that one. He got knocked out by Cub Swanson, but Dallas, as you mentioned, it was one of those fights where he missed weight, which was an early career plague, as you alluded to. So how much?
Those are all at 145, right?
Right, correct, at 145. Yeah. And trying to think of the other fight he got knocked out at here. I'm gonna, at Paul Felder, which I think, but that was another one. Paul Felder, elite striker too, and so it's easier to saying to knock him out than it is to do it. So this is definitely going to be a banger. And the question I want to throw out there to you guys here, one more is this make or break for Justin Gaethje? Because let's be honest, he's been up this title road in the UFC before, came up just a hair short. Again, it was against Khabib, had no shame in that ball game, but title shots aren't handed out freely. Do you think he is in a must-win scenario and risk of possibly not getting another one if he doesn't win this in Phoenix?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, it's gonna be tough for him to get another one, but I don't think it matters for Justin Gaethje. I think he's money. I think he's a money fight. He's an Nate Diaz kind of guy, right? Yep. He's a money fight no matter what, dude. The guy's a gamer. Everybody wants to see him fight. So it wouldn't make any difference. You could put him in there with Conor McGregor the next week, right? And they're going to sell out Texas Stadium, right? Even if he loses, right? So it doesn't matter. for a guy like Gaethje. But it for him to want to see that strap around his waist, I think this is his best opportunity when you look at the field or where he's been, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, you can't, like you said, Dallas, he's in no danger by any. This guy you could put him in there with one of us and it would sell out because people enjoy watching Justin Gaethje fight. That's just the bottom line. He is an exciting fighter that never has a boring night in the office. So like you said, you could put him in there with a number of different people, whether it's McGregor or, whoever the latest flavor of the moment coming up the ranks at 155 is. I mean, there's never going to be a shortage of fighters that, you're going to want to test your mettle against Justin Gaethje is. My whole thought, though, is I don't think he cares. I don't think that's Justin Gaethje's. I mean, when I say he doesn't care, obviously he's an ultra competitive guy and that's his mindset. He wants that title, but I don't think he's so I think he likes to make the money. And I think he knows that his legacy in this sport is secure, whether or not he wins a title or he doesn't. But I also think that if he does lose here, it's a hard road back to the top. And I think that he might put a little bit more pressure on himself, knowing that look, if he slips up, he might not get this opportunity again.
Yeah, I kind of think of him as Arturo Gatti of MMA. It's like you lose, you win, but yeah.
Sure, exact. Great analysis. Go ahead, Dallas. What are you saying, bro?
I agree with you. I mean, I agree with exactly what you're saying. When you look at that division, it's always been their marquee division. And it's just tough because you got guys coming up, you got guys moving. You got a guy like Beneil Dariush who still should be looking at a title, right? I mean, you got guys in the queue that should be looking at title shots. If you lose, you got to win 3 or more.
That's right.
In a row.
Now you got Beneil, you got Islam, there's a laundry list of killers. I mean, it's a stacked division, brother. It is a stacked division.
And in the tough position for a guy like Gaethje is a dude like Islam gets in there. That's not a good proposition for a fight for you,
No, Islam's an animal. I mean, when Habib says he's better than me, that says all you need to know, man. I mean, that guy is scary, and I think he's the ultimate future of the division. But you mentioned another one. I mean, talk about perennially underlooked. I mean, you got Beneil Dariush right underneath them that could be chomping at the bit to get a title shot any day now. So, I don't want to say it's make or break, but I think it might be for Gaethje here in Phoenix, and it's in his home state, so the chips are put in his favor. Let's see if he can pull it out there, huh?
Hey, I'm going to be back in like 2 minutes to use the bathroom, and I'll give Tracy a call real quick, just a reminder.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. And I also think when you look at a pound for pound situation, I think is underlooked is Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski is one of the better fighters that has ever graced the octagon. That guy is a monster.
Have you ever seen a fighter, Dallas, that has gone on such a hot streak as start his UFC career as this guy had that gets little? It's almost as though, okay, it's expected, but it's not talked about. I mean, you look at the names he's beat: Mendez, Aldo, Holloway twice, Ortega. I mean, he just annihilated the Korean Zombie for 4 rounds, almost 5 full rounds. He made it look easy against one of the toughest fighters in the sport. But nobody ever talks about him as one of the best pound for pounders out there. And I mean, it's crazy. All he's done is dominate from day one.
Yeah, I mean, he's yet to lose. Right?
Not even close.
Yeah, I don't think he's even I mean, he's coming out there. And look, I find it hard pressed to find any other champion right now outside of Usman that should be sitting in that position. I mean, Well, I guess you'd say Amanda Nunes,
Right.
but she lost Pena, right? She doesn't hold both titles anymore. So, I mean, she's sitting at the top of the featherweight, but I mean, who's in it? There's 4 people in that division. So, Volkanovski's got to be considered up there, top 1 or 2.
I
3.
can't
I
think
mean, with Jones, I mean, you look at John Jones. Okay, where's John Jones go? But John Jones hasn't fought in 4 years, so who knows?
I mean, that light heavyweight division since Jones left. I mean, you had Jan Blachowicz or Jan. He had it was a nice story, but then Glover dusted him off. He's a nice story. I mean, I love the fact that the old man Power's taken over, but that division's been really a roller coaster ride since Cormier retired and Jones went away. 185. I mean, maybe Izzy, maybe you could flip a coin on that. That's a toss up. 155, Oliveira doesn't have, or 170. I completely skipped the 170-pound weight class.
Usman.
I mean, I don't think there's any disputing Usman. I mean, he's number 1, but it's a close toss up even there. And Volkanovski's creeping up on him. 155. Guys, we all.
Sorry to interrupt you. Tracy said 30 minutes later. Would that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let her know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Keep going. Sorry.
Oliveira 155. I mean, we all love what he's doing. This career renaissance once he's got it, as you so succinctly put it. I love it. His shit together with the weight. I mean, he's a wrecking ball out there. That it's great what he's done, but I don't think he's done what Volk's done. I mean, I think Volk's had the longer volume. 135 is a mess. 125. It's great. I mean, I'm loving this trilogy of fights we've seen. Like you said about Nunez, she's she's clean house of 2 weight classes that are pretty paper thin. And then Valentina and Thug Rose. I mean, is there any names I mentioned there that you might put up there with Volkanovski other than Usman?
No, I mean that's it. That's the thing. You got Usman and Adesanya, and Volkanovski, in my opinion, and I don't think Adesanya's body of work holds up with Volkanovski. I mean, and not just because he hasn't beat everybody, because he has. I just don't think the division has the names or the people that matter or as good, right? Or as storied, right? I mean, you look at that division. You were talking about guys like Holloway beat twice. He beat Aldo. He beat Ortega. He beat the zombie. I mean, he's man, like that list itself is insane.
Hey, what do you guys think about the Cerrone Joe Lauzon fight? Me and Jay just interviewed Joe Lauzon. What are your thoughts on that fight?
How'd that interview go?
It was good. Somehow it was really good. The first couple minutes, but it was good. He was a good guy.
You missed my intro. I ought to club you one, man. I had an intro about Marvelous Marvin Hagler and
I know.
You're lucky I'm not in Phoenix anymore. No, I love you. I love you, man. You don't kid. Go ahead, Dallas.
No, I don't. I mean, look, that's one of those ones for the ages where you got the 2 old boys in the backyard throwing off their cowboy boots and their hats and decided to spit out their skull and fire a couple shots on each other. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where, that's a fight you can see out back at a barn somewhere,
Right. Well, I hate to be the one to say this because I love both of these guys. I mean, if you're not a fan of Cowboy Cerrone or Joe Lauzon, then you're watching the wrong damn sport, because these guys, and I don't have the exact number, but they got to be pushing close to 40 bonuses. These guys, as I said in the interview, Carlos, they don't come in to get paid by the hour. They get in there to finish and kill or be killed, for lack of a better term. But let's be honest, and let's address the elephant in the room. And I think you both know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
And I don't need to say it. I mean, both.
Or the last legs.
Father Time's unbeaten, especially
Oh, yeah.
in a nasty, callous, dangerous sport like this. I think they both come into Phoenix, and I was trying to get to this to allude to it to Joe. Who gives a damn what the critics say? He's been, I mean, look, Joe Lauzon has been the perennial underdog from day one when he stepped foot in that octagon at UFC 63 against Jens Pulver, and everybody was saying Joe who. You know what I mean? And I can't believe it's been that damn long ago. Think about that. That was 2006. This sport has changed so damn much since then.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think Cowboy gives a shit what some ham and egger on an internet message board or Twitter has to say. But let's be honest. As I said, Father Time is unbeaten. And you just look at the records lately. I mean, I'm not saying any are in danger of being given their walking papers. Neither will be released by the UFC ever. I just cannot see it happening. I can't see anything barring something atrocious from humanity. And that's not Joe Lauzon or Donald Cerrone that would cause them to be released. But there's going to be a point where too many losses, and I think Dana's going to pull them aside and say, look, stop doing this to yourself.
Kind of like the BJ situation. I mean, man, you know.
Well,
I think he did that with Cerrone at one point, right? And Cerrone was like, "No, you can piss off, right? I mean, I'm here to make money." So, you know, I mean, a guy, I don't know, you know, Lauzon's chinny, right?
Yeah.
Cowboys chinny. So it's one of those things where, you know, you hope to see a good fight. You know, to be honest, I hope to see most of this fight take place on the ground.
Same here. What do you guys think about?
I'd love to see that because people don't appreciate how good both of these men are on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And real quick, what Dallas is saying by Chinny before anybody listens to this and starts berating my brother here. Understand this. Both of these guys can take a shot. I think we all know that. If you know, we've seen Cowboy eat some of the best from the best. We've seen Joe eat some of the best from the best. But when you fight in this sport for so long and you take this much damage, eventually that shit's going to catch up to you. Ask Chuck Liddell. Yeah. Chuck Liddell was one of the most granite-chinned human beings I've ever seen. And at the end of his UFC career, it felt like a paperweight could have blown him over. That's just, again, when your body takes so much damage, especially in the upper extremities, it catches up to you. And that's why when Dallas says chinny, it's not an insult by any stretch of the imagination, but it's reality. When you get punched so much and take so many impact shots, you just aren't as durable as you once were. It doesn't make you any less tough. It doesn't make you any less of a badass, but your body ultimately says, I've had enough.
I agree.
Yeah, it's like,
and that's what I meant by it. It's, you know, it's a physiological thing, right? They say, well, you have a number, and when your number comes up, like, you know, it's just what it is, right? Like, I mean, it happens in boxing all the time. It happens in any combat sport. It happens in football, right? Guys, you take too many shots to their head, and it's just, you know, you can't get them back out there, you know.
That's right.
It just happens, you know. So that's why I personally, like I said, I want to see this. I'd love to see this fight just be, you know, like a ground display of, like, look how good these two guys really are on the ground, because they're both phenomenal ground fighting experts. And so I'd love to see it, you know.
Lauzon has 17 submissions. Cerrone, I believe, has pretty damn close. I'll get you the exact number on that too. But I mean, these guys, as you said, very proficient on the ground, very proficient. So, if this turns into a ground scrap, I know we'll probably the only three on here that'll be loving it. I think everybody else will be pissed because they're expecting something else. But I'm just going to give you a warning. I'm just going to give you guys a Cliff Notes version of it. Just sit back and enjoy the chat you're about to watch, because these two are really, really good on the ground. Really good. And Cerrone actually has 17 submissions as well. So these guys can go on the ground. So sit back and enjoy if it does turn into that, and just enjoy what you're watching, and just enjoy the fact that these two are in the cage, because you may not see this much longer. These guys aren't going to do this forever. And as scary as it is to say, Donald Cerrone and Joe Lauzon are OGs. That's wild.
Yeah.
That is wild, Dallas. That's wild, Carlos. They're OGs.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Man, look, we've been around this game for a long time. man. You know, I mean, it's for us. Remember when the WEC was still around and Cerrone was fighting people in the WEC and Lauzon was coming out. The game's changed for sure.
What are your guys' thoughts on Fernie Garcia's fight against Journey Newsom? I don't know if Jay kind of broke up for a second. Are you there, Jay?
I'm still here. Yeah, I'm here. That's all right.
Do you have any thoughts on Fernie Garcia's fight? It's also on that Phoenix card.
I'm really, really glad to see Fernie get this opportunity. And whenever the person that recorded the interview, he told me he should have it to me later today. Knock on wood. But I did an interview with Fernie, an expanded version of the one you did, because you did a really good job on yours, and I did an expanded one with him a little bit shortly thereafter, because I actually wanted to talk to Fernie and I missed it because I had some shit going on and I felt I owed it to Fernie to speak to him too. Because Fernie and I go way back. I actually was the ring announcer and play-by-play guy for Coalition of Combat.
Oh yeah, I was there.
He fought Doc Phelps. And then I called several of his fights with Duel for Domination. So I wanted to say Duel for
Domination. I was at that one. Sorry, yeah.
So I felt like I owed it to Fernie to give him, hey, I want to talk to Fernie. And I told Penny, I said, I missed his interview. Can I speak to him? And, she's like, he'd love to have you interview him as well. Okay, 2 for the price of 1. What the hell? But a little snippet of information whenever this gets put up, and the person, Matthew Pickard, sent it to me. He had some computer issues. Fernie, had he not won that contract on Dana White's Contender Series, was going to hang it up. He wasn't going to keep doing this because he realized, look, I'm 30 years old, almost 30 years old.
Yeah.
I don't have the rest of my life to chase this. And I love this sport, basically. And I'm paraphrasing here. You'll hear it for yourself when it gets up eventually, knock on wood. I love this sport. I love the camaraderie. I love everything about it, but I don't have the rest of my life to fool myself and chase this, and fight for $500 in gas money, which is a very real scenario that, Dallas, this too, as ingrained in this sport as you are. It's a very real scenario that these fighters faced. And there comes a point where it's make or break. Either I'm going to get that contract or I'm not. And I think, though, in this fight, he's hungry. He's if you know anything about Fernie Garcia, he's not a guy that's looking he's not looking to get that one contract, fight 2 or 3 times and then have it expired and ride off into the sunset and play Pokemon Go and watch, San Francisco 49ers games for the rest of his career. He wants to make an impact. And Fernie is a very well-rounded fighter. Now, Journey Newsom, as he stated in the interview, is the perfect first test for him. Not that he's overlooking it, but Journey is that guy that has those well-rounded skills that he feels like will be that perfect first test. He has that octagon experience. And he wanted to jump into that, that end of the pool with somebody that had that cage time that, could test him to his full mettle. And, I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think it's going to be a very interesting fight. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm looking forward to seeing Fernie continue to advance. I couldn't be happier for him.
What are you guys?
I agree. I couldn't be happier for Fernie either. Look, he gets to fight at the biggest stage and in Phoenix, right? He gets the opportunity to be, a god amongst mortals, his friends and family, right? Like, you go out there and you walk out under them lights and you get your hand raised, your friends and family don't forget that, So
right.
He gets that chance, and that's good on him. This game is a fickle, brutal beast, and it will chew you up and spit you out easy as anything. Because we've seen it. How many times have we seen it? We see guys fight every other weekend in these local fights and never make it to that big stage. So good on him. I hope he gets that W, and I hope that he goes on and gets some more W's.
What level of vulgarity are we allowed to use on here?
We can use whatever.
Okay, I'm just gonna call it straight. Dallas, you said it. MMA is an unforgiving motherfucker. It is. It is unforgiving, and you mentioned it well. There have been people who have even made it to the UFC. I love the guy to death. Joe Gelati. I love Joe. Joe is one of my favorite people I have ever encountered in MMA. Joe even got into the UFC, had his couple of fights, and things didn't, unfortunately. It's tough, man. It doesn't make him, any less. UFC is a monster. The level of competition up there is a different world. And then you get back, and it's trying to get back is twice as tough because it's ingrained in these people's minds. And we've seen, like you said, Dallas, not piggybacking or stealing your words here, we've seen it. Hundreds of fighters out of the Arizona. This is just out of Arizona that have busted their ass for years, fighting every other weekend, some cases every weekend, for nothing more than the love of the sport. We're talking, what did they get paid? $100, $200? I mean, they're not getting Brewster's Millions by anything. And what they do,
you're getting at most 500 to show up. You know what I mean? $500 doesn't get you far after you pay your medicals and all the other things you got to do, your blood work and your registrations and your camp to get there. I mean, it doesn't cover anything, right?
Especially when your gym fees, most MMA gyms, you're looking at $150, $200 a month. So, and it's not like these guys can go into Circle K and get a couple of hot dogs and eat that for their meal. I mean, I'm sure they can, but they're going to gas out. They're going to gas out 10 seconds after entering a cage. So, I mean, it's an unforgiving son of a bitch. And, when you see these guys make it, and that's what I'm hoping for Fernie, man. I hope he rips off a couple of wins and goes on a lengthy run, because I don't want to see him be one of these guys that gets one or two fights in the UFC and suffers the fate of being one of the ones that he got there and that was it. Because it is, the UFC will chew you up and spit you out, the competition there. And not everybody has the benefit of being Phil Brooks. Not everybody has the benefit of being James Toney, that these guys were already made.
I mean, there's so many names, man. You look at Roman, right? You look at guys like Burchek. You look at guys like, all these guys were elite Arizona dudes, man. And they, 3 and out, 2 and out, in the UFC. So it's a whole, like they say, there's levels to the shit, man. And unfortunately, if you're not prepared for those, you're going to get chewed up and spit out.
What are your guys' thoughts on a Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson fight?
I'm interested to see what Ferguson's got left in the tank, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to me. I know what Chandler's got, Chandler's going to come out there guns ablazing, throwing Mike Tyson fucking hooks and uppercuts at your face. You know what I mean? And I want to know what Fergie's got. Can he take it? Can he do anything but even Ari roll on for your legs anymore? I don't know. But, I don't know. He took one of the worst beatings I've ever seen in my entire life in that Gaethje fight. That was one of the worst beatings I've ever seen, ever. And I just don't think he's been the same ever since. He could prove me wrong, right? I hope he does, right? And look, I'm always an optimist when it comes to this. I hope he does. But man, that's that's a tough thing to come back from.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's one of the fights that mentally will break you. And you're absolutely right, Dallas. That fight, I just don't know if that mentally took such a toll on Tony Ferguson, who, by the way, is 38 years old. We talked about father time earlier. Tony Ferguson's 38, and he's logged a lot of miles in that cage. And a beating like that at any age, he was, I believe, that was 2020. That was 2020. So he was 36 then. Mm-hmm. He's battled his injuries. I don't know if he's mentally, not that he's mentally weak by any means. That's the furthest thing from who Tony Ferguson is. I wonder if that took a toll on him. I wonder if father time's catching up with him. And to be fair, it's not like Tony Ferguson is losing to bums and slobs and ham and eggers. He got beat by Gaethje, and then he followed that up with Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush. Those are 3 top of the food chain. But Michael Chandler's not exactly, Joe Blow, the 7-Eleven gas attendant either. So This isn't exactly the guy you want to jump back into the pool with if you want to have a rebound fight. And I mean, and Chandler's hungry too. Chandler's coming off back-to-back losses. He's coming in there looking to prove something that, look, I mean, again, like I said about Gaethje, no danger of being in any kind of in terms of job security, because he's a crowd-pleasing crowd favorite. But he's got to stay atop of the tide in that rapidly rising division, and he needs this win. So I think he's going to come out there firing guns ablazing, and Ferguson better be on his guard, because if he's not, it could be a short night in an office, and a rocky one at that.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know what I mean? When you look at that Gaethje fight too, and the way that ended, you see Ferguson, he didn't want it to end, but his body is just like, nope, we can't take it anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's just over. The way he stumbles back, and his nose is all busted up, and he's just like, raw, like just whoa, bro, like man, like your body just gave out on you, and it's just like you said, the list of people he fought afterwards too. I mean, those were no easy nights at the office either. So
we also have
you know what that?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, good. You know what that reminded me? That fight reminded me of. That fight reminded me of BJ Penn's last two title defenses. That Gaethje Ferguson fight reminded me of two of BJ Penn's last two title defenses, Diego Sanchez and Joe Stevenson. Of how they were, their mind said, "I'm going to go. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to quit." And their body said, "Yes, you are." And the sad thing is, and people now look at Joe Stevenson and Diego Sanchez as footnotes. People don't realize how damn good those guys were at the day. You know it, Dallas. You know it, Carlos. Yeah. Those guys were pretty damn good when they were coming into their fights, and they were never quite the same after that either. A fight like that can mentally fuck with you in ways that's never to be seen.
Yeah.
We also have a title fight, women's strawweight, Doug Roser's Carla Esparza. So I'm butchering her name. What are you guys' thoughts?
It's a rematch, if I'm not remembering, right? Am I remiss here?
The tough, what is it? The tough finale. I think it was one of the tough when they crowned the women's champion at 115 pounds.
That was early Rose. I think Rose only had like 3 or 4 fights at that time. Three fights, or 4 fights.
Yeah, she was still a pop in the sport. Absolutely.
Yeah. I see the fight. I mean, I guess we're here to make predictions and do the things of that sort, right? Not play the fence. I see Esparza getting really pieced up in this one. I don't think that she's going to be able to corner Rose like she did before and take her down and hold her down. I think Rose's striking is on a completely whole nother level than it was before. She spent a lot of time out there with Trevor Whitman and her husband, Pat Barry, who are, geniuses when it comes to the standing arts. And she's good, man. I mean, her kicks are so amazing. Her punches are straight. It's all a mental thing for her. And, we'll see which one shows up. But I think we're going to get the best Rose, and I think we're going to see Rose retain that belt.
I agree with you.
That was actually the top 20 finale, which, God, that's already been almost a decade ago, 8 years ago. Here in December, it'll be 8 years since that fight took place. Rose, she was only barely 21, 22 years old at the time. God, she's almost 30. That's crazy. We literally have watched Doug Rose grow up before our very eyes. It's unbelievable. But another point I want to bring up here, Rose has never lost a rematch. Everybody she's faced in rematches, she's beaten decisively. So, Carla, I give her credit, man. The Cookie Monster, she hit a bit of a hiccup in her career. She won the belt at the Tough 20 finale. Then she immediately lost it in her first defense against Johanna, which, Johanna was no shame in that, guys. We all know what Johanna wound up becoming. She was a human wrecking ball. Then, she went on a bit, had a couple of losses mixed, 3 more losses mixed in there. But she's been, on a nice little run since 2018, or since her last loss to Tatiana Suarez in 2018. Rosa, man, Rose is on another level right now. This is not the Thug Rose we saw in 2014, guys. Not even close. This woman has piss in her will that she's not going to lose. She refuses to lose. She refuses to break. I actually was at her fight in New York, and she was putting some tough spots. She was putting some very tough spots, and she somehow managed to continue to fight her way out of it. This woman has. There's the old additive, the jack of all trades, and people look at that, Dallas, Carlos, as a negative thing. I don't think that's the case in MMA, though. I think that Rose is so well-rounded that she has no concernible weaknesses. Even though she doesn't have that one thing that truly stands out, she's excellent at everything, and she doesn't have one glaring weakness, in my opinion.
I'm with you 100% on that. I agree with you. I think she's good on the ground. She's got submissions. And look, I think I kind of did skip over Carla Esparza. I mean, Carla Esparza's been doing the damn thing, right? I mean, she's been getting wins. She's been taking people out to get to this point. That's the best division in the female MMA, UFC. It's the toughest division to be in, and she's ready. She's made her way back up the ranks. So she's got her chance. I think they say on any given Saturday, right? I mean, anybody can win anything, right? But I find when the way I always look at fights is who's got the most opportunities to win, right? I mean, you look at guys who only can knock you out, right? Whereas you have people who can knock you out, submit you, or beat you in a decision. And, I always favor the people that have three different ways to win as opposed to people who have one or two. So that's why I'm going. I think Rose is going to pull this off.
Well, I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's a fight, Marco Rua versus I can't pronounce his last name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oven St. Peru, OSP.
Yeah. Shogun and OSP.
And you guys are so lucky to see Shogun live because you want to talk about OGs. He's the last of the true OGs. He's the last of the old guard, man. Pride will never die, baby. Pride will never die.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's my age, for God's sakes. It's like me getting in the cage.
We're old bastards. We're old bastards.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's I think he's like a month younger than me. I'm like, jeepers creepers, man! I can't believe this guy's still out here doing it. And and he looks the worst for wear, but he goes out there and he gets shit done sometimes, man. And he's been one of my favorite fighters for a long, long time. I mean, ever since the soccer kicks and the foot stomps, which I think they should bring back personally.
Hell yeah.
OSP he's a big tough guy. He's got his go-to submission moves. Shogun gets hit. That's not a revelation to anybody, right? OSP likes to hit hard. But Shogun can take it, man. Even at 40, Shogun still can eat shots, and he can do it for 25 minutes if he needs to. This one to me, I don't know. I don't know what the odds are in this fight. Shogun was on a pretty decent run for a little while. Then he lost one or two. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I'm always rooting for Shogun to win because just because he is the last real living legend still, I believe, fighting in the UFC.
Agreed. Man, this guy needs to be put in bubble wrap and kept around forever, man. I mean, this guy's fought everybody, man. Like, I think he's the last surviving Pride member still in UFC too, right?
Maybe Nick Diaz. Yeah. I think Diaz, if he's still on.
Yeah, Diaz fought Gomi. Yeah. That's right. Diaz fought Gomi the one time. But let's be honest, Carlos, we don't really associate Nick Diaz much as a Pride guy. Yeah. He's more of a UFC strikes worth guy. Exactly. I mean, everybody says Pride, they say Shogun. He's one of the first names that comes off the top of their mouths with Pro Cop and Fedor, and but man, OSP, he's such an enigma, though, isn't he? I mean, he's had fights where he's looked ridiculously brilliant.
Yeah.
And then he's had fights to where this sport's a mistress, man. It's a weird mistress. Like, I thought OSP should have taken Tanner Boser behind the woodshed. You know what I mean? Just on pure skill and talent. But this is a tough one, man. I mean, Shogun, I'm supposed to be unbiased, so I'm not going to say what my sentiment is, but
yeah,
which OSP is going to show up? Is the OSP that gave John Jones a little bit of trouble going to show up? Is the John Jones who beat Corey Anderson going to show up? Or is the OSP that looked sluggish against Tanner Boser and got knocked out going to show up? Because if that OSP shows up, Shogun will put him to sleep. Guarantee it. Even at 40 years old with years and miles on his tire, Shogun will put him to sleep.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Shogun is one of those guys. Whether he either wins violently or he loses violently, right? Paul Craig is the loss, and he lost to. So he was on a little run. But that's right. Shogun lost to Owens already once in 2014.
That is right.
Owens knocked him out in the first round, just one pump. Remember, it was like 30 seconds in. Put him to sleep.
That's right. Got completely.
But then he went on a run, and then Shogun beat Nogueira, Anderson, Vellante. Lost to Anthony Smith, which is, that's no easy night at the office. No. Beat Tyson Pedro, beat Nogueira again, lost to Paul Craig. So he's coming off a loss, and this is a rematch. I mean, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, it lasts longer than 30 seconds.
Do you guys have Oh, sorry. Keep going, Jay.
Go ahead, Carlos. You
guys have any thoughts on the Bellator this weekend? It's like two cards, Friday and Saturday. Liz Carmouche is fighting Velasquez for one of the belts.
That's in Hawaii, right?
Yep. Yeah, I wish I used to live out there. I used to always go to fights there. I don't know why UFC has never had a card there. It makes no sense to me.
It's too hard.
Why is it hard
to get all the equipment out there?
But they fly to London. They fly to England, they fly to Ireland, they fly wherever. So what's wrong with Hawaii?
Yeah, but I think they have stuff already there. Hawaii, look, time zones are different, right? You got
the fan cards,
You got to be able to bring stuff over there. It's just it's a tough thing. They're gonna see. Bellator's going to see what it's like.
Bellator's been out for the last few years. They've had plenty of shows there.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, why UFC hasn't been there yet?
Well, I think
they got that. They got that Rich Chow Chu connection out there.
Chow?
Yeah. Rich is from there, and though he doesn't work there anymore at Bellator anymore. They did a lot of fight stuff out there when it was,
Yeah, I used to go a lot of fights when I lived out there. I was out there from 2002 to about 2006 in the Army, minus Iraq in 2004. But, man, I've been to that arena so many times where Rumble in the Rock, freaking a bunch of different shows out there.
Those were all Rich and what's his name from Strikeforce doing all those fights. So
Rumble in the Rock, yeah.
I don't know. I look at these ones and I think you'd think that the odds would be in favor of a Carmouche on this one, but I don't know. With these Bellator fights, sometimes they're hard to predict because some of them look like real mismatches when you look at them.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know, but sometimes you just haven't seen enough of somebody. So,
yeah, Bader's fighting Congo on May 6th with Bellator in London, I believe.
He is.
I can answer your
question. I can answer. I can answer your question about why they don't hold an event in Hawaii, Carlos. I can answer that real simply because the Blaisdell Center only seats 8,800 people, and that's way substandard to what the UFC wants for what they're putting. They're putting events in big money stadiums that pack like 20, 30,000 people, 40,000 people. You know, an 8,000 seat venue probably wouldn't. You know, Bellator will fly with that. They don't give a shit, but I don't think the UFC is like, you know. That might be a factor too. I'm just spitballing. Sorry to cut you off.
Well,
that makes sense.
You got the Honolulu Bowl or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
Henzo fought
They
BJ
contend
Penn.
that.
I actually missed that fight. I went to every fight when I was out there, but I missed that fight. BJ Penn versus Henzo at that football stadium.
That's a big venue. You know, I mean that'll hold 35,000, I would think.
Oh yeah,
it will, but I think that's closed down temporarily because of I think that's like they had the football team playing somewhere else for a while. I could be entirely wrong on that, but they could do it. They could do it outdoors. That would be an interesting, interesting perspective. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, depending on what those what do they call those Kona wins? What are those things called? The Kona wins? I don't remember.
Yeah, the Kona wins.
That's all they talk about. That's all the weathermen talk about in Hawaii.
Where it rains, for 5 seconds and it's sunny and then it rains again.
It's crazy. When I was in Hawaii, I was Army infantry, so it would only rain when I'm in the field. Like when we're in the field, it would always rain. It would never rain when it was ridiculous.
Well.
But
if I'm ever farming, I'm calling you, bud.
Yeah, right. But me too. You'll be getting 2 phone calls. But the 2 back-to-back that you were talking about, Velasquez, Carmouche. I like that fight. I like Carmouche, but Velasquez, she's well-rounded, but Velasquez is pretty talented. But I'll tell you a name to pay attention to on this card. You ready for it?
Yep.
Danny Sabatello.
Yeah.
That guy is a monster he's a very good wrestler. He's he's got decent hands, trained out of American Top Team. You want to talk about a salesman though? This guy runs his gums like no one's business. This guy will run his mouth and talk shit. And he backs it up. I mean, he backs it up. It's not the most exciting style if you don't like wrestling, but he gets in there and he'll talk shit and he'll get in there and it's like Colby Covington. He'll get in there and smother you. But he's fighting Jornel Lugo, so pay attention to that one.
Nice.
And then
I'll keep going.
What's that? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, before you got on here, Jay, we were talking about Terrell's fight. I don't know if you've seen that fight or want to talk about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. But then the 23rd, though, since we were talking about that one, you got Cyborg fighting. So she's gonna be. Didn't she beat the shit out of this woman she's fighting already?
I'm not sure. Possibly.
Arlene, it's all interchangeable. You sacrifice, you throw these women in the lands. Arlene Blencow or whatever the hell her name is. I can't pronounce it. But Cyborg, it's like a human wrecking ball.
Oh yeah.
But that's
she's at this point she's got a deal, right? I mean, there's a thing for her there, and it's not to lose. That's for sure. You know, I mean.
Yeah.
Bellator's been known. Look, I like Bellator. I'm entertained by Bellator. I think Bellator does a good job of putting on these tournaments, right? I mean, these tournaments that offer these other guys chances to become title holders, and they put on these good matchups and these marquee divisions, but when you look at the undercards of these, I mean they're set. They got their guys, and their girls, and they want them to win. They want them to be somebody,
Absolutely.
And I mean, good on them for it, right? It's promotion.
Absolutely. Hey, that's the way to run a business. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. I mean,
it's like boxing.
Run it how you see. Well, sure. You got your pros and you got your favorites, and then you got the ones that are meant to boost up the favorites. That's UFC does the same thing. Sometimes those people that are meant to boost wind up having much longer and prolific careers, Joe Lauzon. I mean, but just to verify, this is a rematch. Cyborg fought her in her Bellator debut and submitted her in the 2nd round. But since then, she's picked up a TKO win over Dania Silva and then well-traveled Pam Sorensen. So, hey, well, but best we can say about it, she has nothing to lose in this fight, right? And those are the most. What do I always say, Dallas, about people that are have nothing to lose? I've said this for 6 years.
Tracy,
they're dangerous. They got shit to lose, nothing to lose.
Tracy should jumping on any minute. Did you guys see Aaron Pico's fight, the last Bellator before? Hopefully, she jumps on.
Yeah, Aaron Pico's he's good. It just he picked up some loss or two and early in his career, but he was just a kid, man.
Yeah.
You let this kid develop, and Bellator's the perfect place for development, right? I mean, we were just talking. I was just saying that if you're gonna develop, man, you would do it in Bellator. I mean, you let this kid develop and let this kid's contract run out, and they don't re-sign him, and he shows up over at the UFC, he's gonna be a problem,
Oh yeah.
I think you said it then, Dallas, back when he suffered his very first fight against Zach Freeman, he lost. You said this can be the best thing that ever happened to him or the worst thing that ever happened to him, losing early on. And it's proved to be the best because you learn, you and I have said this many times on this show, and it's many incarnations. You learn just as much about yourself during a loss as you do in 10 wins. And we've seen great fighters lose and completely fade into the spotlight because they couldn't handle losing. I mean, and there's one right off the top of my head I can think of who was a trendsetter, who was a game changer for the UFC that lost. She lost another fight and then she was gone, and she's never coming back. And I don't need to spell out the name of who I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about.
But yeah, right. I mean, but Pico losing early on, I think that was great for his career because it showed him, sometimes you got to get those losses out of the way, and that's how you're going to grow. And now he's doing quite well for himself, man. He's ripped off, I believe it's got to be close. He's with 7-8 wins in a row. Yeah. I mean, it's all upward from here.
Because he would just stand and trade, but now he knows he's turning a guy, blah, 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 take him down instead of just standing and banging. Anybody can get knocked out, they stand and bang, and he learned.
Yeah, I mean, his footwork's changed quite a bit as well too. He's not rhythm stepping as much as he used to, and he's not just letting everybody know that he's going to shoot. I mean, he's got that left hook to the body that's just nasty.
Oh yeah, I know.
I mean, his boxing is getting really good. And his ability to defend, I mean, I think when you look at all these guys that are at the top, and guys and girls, guys and gals that are at the top of the food chain in MMA, it's their ability to defend.
Oh, Tracy's jumping on right now. Okay, cool. Sorry about that.
If you can't defend, it doesn't. You can only take so many punches to the face. You know what I'm saying? So.
Testing 1, 2. Can you hear us, Tracy? Awesome.
And while we're doing that, the person.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Excellent. We were just talking about Bellator, I believe, but
Aaron Pico, yeah. But now we're gonna talk about
here. You are.
Yeah, let's talk about something that's a considerably more up to date, and that's Ms. Cortez, who's got a big fight of her own coming up, right, Carlos?
Yes, sir. May 7th in Phoenix
at the Footprint Center.
Yeah, all right. See, you got to fill me in. Okay, and now first question I got. This is totally unrelated. When did they pick that crappy ass name? I mean, you got to understand. I moved. Yeah, so I'm not there anymore. So I'm confused.
I just say Suns Arena myself when I'm like, hey, let's go to fights or a game. Suns Arena,
Right? Yeah, the Suns Arena. I think it's been. I think they changed the name about like 4 times already. It was like
exactly
Stick and some other stuff. Like every year, it's something different.
So coming up next time when you fight there, it'll probably have 3 different name changes. But
I know,
nonetheless,
right?
You got to. It'll be the Tracy Cortez Center after you set the place on fire with all the talk that's going to happen after your big fight, UFC 274, right?
Hell yeah! Hopefully, fingers crossed.
So where are you training at right now? Oh, sorry, Jay.
Go ahead, Carlos.
Where are you training at right now, Tracy?
Here in Scottsdale at Fight Ready.
Oh, nice. I wasn't sure if you were in Cali or back Fight Ready.
Oh, no, I'm having my camp here in Phoenix.
Nice.
After though, I'm going back to LA.
Nice.
So
go, Jay.
Let's talk about your big fight coming up. You got big one May 7th, Phoenix, Arizona, your hometown. Melissa Gatto. Give us the tail of the tape of this fight. I know you're not going to tip your cap, nor will we expect you to. But what's your thoughts on Melissa as an opponent? How do you think your styles mesh? so to speak, for lack of a better term?
I'm pretty sure we both just want to take it to the ground, you know. She wants to showcase her jiu-jitsu and said, you know, her grappling skills, and me being we're at least I think I could say that we're both pressured fighters. So I'm pretty I'm what's the word? I'm wondering how it's gonna go.
You got big impact when you're on the ground. When
yes.
you take it to the ground, it's tough. It's a tough night in the office when Tracy Cortez puts you on your back.
Exactly, and that's her world as well. So it's gonna be an interesting fight.
So fair to say it's going to be when that fight hits the ground, we can expect to see chest movers, correct?
A lot of action, yeah.
Have you
throwing it out there
benefited
for
at
you?
all? Oh, go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead, Dallas. Your turn, bud.
How much have you benefited by the explosion of Fight Ready over the last year or so? I mean, it just seems like everybody wants to come to Fight Ready right now and work with the coaches out there. You know, I mean, you got look. I've been a Santino DeFranco guy for a long time. In this being around here, and you know, but you got Henry out there, and you got all. I mean, have you got a lot more experience and rounds in with people since then?
Absolutely. There's a lot of new faces going in and out of the gym, you know, and at the end of the day, it is a selfish sport, so it's kind of frustrating seeing a bunch of new faces taking my coaches. But you know, I have great coaches, and everybody's starting to see it, and everybody wants a piece. So it's really first come, first serve. Like if you're there, you're there, and if you're not, you're gonna miss out.
Yeah, I mean, you've been with Santino though since the beginning, right? I mean, the very beginning of your career. So I can't imagine that he doesn't carve out some time for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know, yeah, he does. But he gives the same attention to everybody else.
What are you eating in that shake? What is it? What's in your bottle?
It's just ice, protein, and yogurt, Greek yogurt. It's a little post
workout,
you know, yeah, or pre-workout before I go work out right now again.
Oh, nice. So how many times have you worked out so far today?
Once. I had a mid-session this morning, hit the sauna afterwards, got home, rested, and about to go to my next workout here pretty soon.
Nice.
So the question I want to pose to you, up there at Fight Ready, you've got a chance to grapple with some great fighters up there. Obviously, Henry Cejudo. I mean, Santino DeFranco. We all know this guy could. I swear to God, this guy could teach a blind elephant to ice skate across the state of Arizona, which, you know, that's a special trait. But have you had a chance to train by chance with Johnny Bones since he's been there at all?
No, that's a big man right there. No, I don't train with them. No. I train with people my size, you know. I have great teammates, and I stick to people that are around my body type, my size. Especially right now, someone that mimics the girl that I'm fighting. Yeah,
they keep it more your weight specific. They keep it more your weight specific and size specific. Gotcha.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is you beat up Roman every day.
El Gaito, hell no, Roman's big right now. He's so like he put on a lot of muscle. But yeah, we used to be able to train. I don't train with him no more either. He's just a big boy.
You know, one thing I've noticed because I follow you, and I feel like right now, like in your personal like journey, you are extremely elated. You're happy. You have all these things going on for you. Does that change the way you look at the fight game and where you could be or where you're going to be in the future?
Thank you for that. I am extremely happy right now. Life is good, you know, even in camp while things tend to get hectic. I have good people around me. I have, you know, my partner here by my side and supporting me. And does it change anything mentally, like the hunger of going into the fight? No, not at all. You know,
Is it easier
it's
to
more
get
of just
ready?
appreciating the happiness rather than being fucking miserable in camp. So, you know, so I'm just appreciate the happiness when it's here, and when it's not, just keep moving forward, step by step, day by day.
Nice.
So,
Jay, you were going to say something. Oh,
Jay,
he
there?
muted.
I think he's there.
Am I still
Speaking
is
of,
working?
I hear yours.
go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead, Dallas. You were getting ready to talk. My mic was being goofy. Go ahead.
No, I was just finished. I just said you were going to say something.
Okay. So what's the biggest thing you've done to keep yourself grounded since getting that UFC contract on the Contender Series? Because we were actually just having a discussion about this. It's a hard climb to get into the UFC, but then you see people get and have a couple of fights, and then unfortunately it's a whole different world in there versus what people are used to seeing in the, regionals, for lack of a better term. And then they wind up getting swallowed up and on their merry way. So what have you done to keep yourself rounded, keep yourself sharp, and keep yourself to where you're not just there for the short, you're not there for the short term. You're there to make that lasting impact, which you've done so far, obviously. But
yeah, well, I have goals, I'm not just trying to take every fight. I have goals and I want to be a champion, and I have great people around me that do keep me grounded and humble, and that's also, like, I don't want to say people around me, but just me, myself. I am a humble person, and I say that humbly. But
she is very humble, guys. She's humble. I've called her fight. She's the most humble fighter you'll meet.
I appreciate that. Thank you. But
you're welcome.
I do have great people around me. I have great friends and my brothers, and I'm me, and I'm not defined by my career, or like who I am as a person is ultimately, what I carry inside. So I'm thankful that my parents put that in me.
I mean, you're sitting there right around the top 15. I think at one time you were 15.
Yeah.
You were 15 at one time. So you're 15, 17. What's the win here do for you? Do you think that puts you in the top 15, looking ahead of the top 10?
Fingers crossed. I talked to my coaches and some other people around me, and they have a game plan for me on how this is gonna go for me. So I'm excited, and once after this fight, once everything happens well, they do have a game plan for me, and I'm excited for that.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, guys, my energy's a little low right now.
Oh no, you look a little tired, but it's all good. I know
I'm
you're
a little tired.
hard.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's all good.
What's Brian think?
Your energy is perfect.
Kick?
Your energy sounds like a person. Your energy sounds like a person that's busting their ass, getting ready for a fight in her hometown. That's what your energy sounds like, and it sounds perfect to every single one of us. We'd expect nothing less. So you're doing great.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Brian's good. He's like my biggest support system right now. He shows me so much love every day and helps me. He's like genuinely like just helping me out with things and just being there for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be getting good grappling instructions.
Yeah. 100%. So it's like, not to say too much, but yeah, he's amazing. Helps me out.
Do you guys have discussions on whose hair is better?
Yes, and he thinks my hair's better. No, this was a serious conversation though. Like, he insists that his hair, like, he's like, no, my hair is amazing. Look at it, and I'm just like, bro.
Well, Tracy, one thing I wanted to bring up to you is you've very well documented your battle with depression after the tragedy you endured in your life, which every day I want to say, as somebody who battles mental health myself, I absolutely admire, and I mean this in a very respectful way, I promise you. I look up to you for getting into that cage and doing this and being an inspiration for everybody out there that battles mental health, that it's not something that holds you back. It is something that, it's part of us. It's part of us. Yeah. Depression is part of us, but it's not the end of us. And I tip my cap to you all the time for continuing to thrive despite the tragedy, despite the adversity you went through in your life, despite the loss, and despite the depression that goes along with it. And it takes a tough person. And I know that 15 to 45 minutes in the octagon seems like hell, but what you've been through, I really tip my cap to you. I really do. You're an inspiration to us all with mental health issues and depression, myself included.
Thank you. Yeah. It's definitely hard, you know, and something that, I mean, it's gonna sound crazy, but being in the fight, I feel alive. You know, I don't think about anything that happened or that has happened or that is gonna happen or previous, you know. It's just like I'm just there in the moment, and that's the only time I really feel alive. And I think that's why, at least personally, I do what I do.
How much does Jose motivate your career? How much does
100%.
Jose legacy in his memory and keeping him alive, does it keep you going?
It's everything for me, you know, keeping his, especially his, this is his dream. This is something that I've learned to love, and it's now a part of me as well, where it started off as something where I wanted to keep his memory alive, and now it's just far more than that.
Now, do you mind if I tell the quick story about this for those that don't, or I should allow you to tell because it's your story to tell, but
no, you can.
Jose,
I'll get emotional.
Jose was a aspiring mixed martial artist, actually defeated Drew Fickett, who we were talking about OGs on here. There are a few in the Arizona MMA scene who are more OG than Drew Fickett. I think we all can agree on that. Mm-hmm. And that fight, correct me if I'm telling fabrications here or I'm embellishing, but that fight actually, that your Jose's win over Drew is what inspired you to get into MMA, correct?
Yeah.
And then
that one specifically because later on that week, my brother was having like respiratory problems, and we couldn't figure it out, and we thought he was sick. And you know, my mom was doing like the traditional like Mexican, vapuru, how. And finally we figured out like, oh, it's not helping. What's going on? Took him to the hospital, and they found a grapefruit-sized tumor in his heart. So he fought with that in his heart, and that was just a big inspiration for me. Like, holy shit, my brother, my hero, like he did that. So, and
unfortunately, Jose is no longer with us. And you actually have a tattoo in memorial in remembrance of him, correct?
Yes, I do.
I was just about to ask you if we could see that. That's a beautiful tattoo.
Yeah.
That is a
thank you.
Very nice tattoo of him. But
you know what's so ironic is that I would have never thought I would get this photo specifically tattooed on me, because now I do get made fun of a little bit. They're like, oh, she has a UFC tattoo on her. It's like, it's not even about that. Excuse my language, but I'm like, motherfucker.
No, say it. It's an already show.
I'm like, it's my brother. Like, he has this chemo bracelet, and this was like his favorite hat. I don't know why. And I don't know. I just think it's funny how things like that play. Because I was only 17 when I got this done. At the time, I wasn't even training to fight. You know, I was like doing a couple things here and there, but that was just to distract myself.
Well, thank you for talking about this story with us. That was a very, thank you for opening up with us. I know that's a tough topic, and I know I didn't mean to bamboozle you with it. I know that's a part of a very big chapter of your life. It actually is what led you to get linked up with the Cejudos, correct? Because they were pretty close with your brother, right?
Yeah. So Angel, it was Angel. Angel was Jose's best. Jose had like two best friends, and Angel was one of them. And they pretty much lived at our house, or we lived over there, you know. And that's how we became tight. I mean, I spent the holidays with them, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so, that's an amazing story. You inspire me. You inspire me.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. No, thank you guys.
Well, best of luck to you. I mean, congratulations on all your successes so far, and for your congratulations in the future.
God damn it! I'm not entering. Damn it! I'm not entering this interview. We're not ending this interview with this lovely young lady on that note. No way in hell I'm ending her.
Well, you did it, Jay.
No, I'm gonna close it right. I'm gonna close it right. How you whipping her ass in Phoenix? Let's get this party going right. How you beating Melissa in Phoenix? Let's hear it. We're gonna get you smiling here. I'm not closing this interview somber.
You know what? I'm extremely blessed, and I can't say I can't say this enough. It was a dream of mine to fight here, not in Glendale, but in Phoenix, my
Nice.
hometown. And I was telling Brian, I remember being like, I was about to say little girl. I had to been like 18, 19, sitting at the very top because that's all I could afford, right? Like the very top fucking seats. And telling my friends, like, yo, I'm gonna fight there one day. Like, I'm gonna be here when everybody would make fun of me. Everybody made fun of me, like, no, you're fucking not, you're dream, like, and here I am,
Awesome.
like 10 years later, like that is what gets me emotional. It's like, holy shit, like, what a dream come true to even be able to fight here in my hometown. So I'm fucking excited, and I'm getting ready, and I'm training hard. So
well, we're fucking excited.
Believe it, achieve it.
That's right. We're fucking excited too. And last comment. You've never seen Tracy Cortez fight. You're listening to this interview. If you haven't seen Tracy Cortez, what the fuck is your problem? Get with the times. It's 2022. Open up. But Tracy, this will be the only time anybody better ask you this on an interview, or I'll personally find them and kick their ass myself. Sell yourself to the listening audience. What are they going to see in a Tracy Cortez fight, and why should they tune in?
You know what? You're going to see a lot of fucking Mexican heart. You're gonna see Mexican heart in there, and I'm gonna fucking try to finish this fight, and I'm gonna put on a good show for you guys. So I'm ready.
There you have it. Mexican heart, the toughest chica in the city of Phoenix today, bar none. And let me tell you guys, she is the future of 125 pounds. If you ain't on board the bandwagon now, we're taking limited tickets for it. You better jump on board, because when this bitch is closed, we're not opening it back up. Tracy Cortez taking time out of her busy training schedule, busting her ass to join us here on MMA Fight Coverage. Tracy, it's been a delight. Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you, guys.
I'll see you there.
Amazing. Bye.
Thank you. See you guys later. Jeez.